How you doing? I'm BJ. Welcome to the garage. Today I'm going to talk about why I started my woodworking journey using 2x4s. They were cheap. When it came to the materials, they were the cheapest out there. In case if I screwed something up or if I made a mistake, I didn't know what I was doing. Just throw it on fire. It didn't bother me so much. It's a couple dollars. This was the first thing right here that I had made with some 2x4s. I took my table saw, cut a 2x4 down the middle, then I ran it through my planer, and then I have a little jig. I was watching a woodworking video that it's like a sled I can bring through my table saw, and I can join it. There's kind of like a homemade joiner, and it worked out pretty good for this. And I learned how to do the glue up. I didn't know anything about glue ups or anything. This was the very first thing I ever glued up was this right here. And it was an experience. Getting my trim router and getting a circle jig and cutting this out and adding 2 layers to it. Putting the legs on. The legs are flimsy. It's very flimsy. It'll hold me, and I have no problem sitting on it. It's just flimsy. But I like this. I can use this in the wood shop. I'm surprised by how much I actually do use this. When I stand on it, no. I practice a lot of things. I didn't think glue was that strong. I come from banging nails and using screws. I just... I've done a test where I took 2 pieces. I run a lot of tests when I don't know and I'm sure about things. It's the same thing with using cheap materials. You improve as you keep moving forward and your skills get better. But the test I did, I glued 2 pieces of wood together and I wanted to see how strong the glue was, and the wood broke. Not where I glued the 2 together. That stayed solid. So I was, glue is the way to go. This here, I'll put this down. This here was my second attempt. This is bigger. Got a little lopsided on me. The legs are a little more rigid, a little more sturdier. I actually use this and to hold my computer printer. But there's a lot of learning that comes. Oh yeah, the legs are 10 degrees at the top and bottom, just like that one, 10 degrees. I practiced. I got a dado blade for my table saw. I didn't know what I was doing with a dado blade. I dadoed this out a little bit, and then I put the 2 together, and I was just thinking about, in my head, and threw this together. The same thing. Learning the glue ups, learning to do the legs. Just, what'll drive you nuts the most is when you put everything together. If it does that little rock right there. My table is not MDF, but this did have a little rock to it, and getting that out's probably there's a couple cool videos on that, but it was interesting, so and if it doesn't work out for you, it's just a 2x4. It's different when you're spending a lot of money on wood. Now I moved up to more expensive cuts of wood. This is poplar and oak. I believe the ends are pine. This is going to be a clock. I didn't know what it was going to be at first. I was like, maybe it would be for cooking in the kitchen or something. Not really a cutting board. I'm not in the wooden cutting boards. I know my way around a kitchen very well. I don't really, wood's very decorative to me. So I'm not really sure yet. This will be a clock because this is the clock that I had made right here. And I do videos on trans tint dyes, and I'm impressed with this, the way it turned out. At first I wasn't, but when I'm in the wood shop and I can hear the tick-tock coming from the clock, and it's over there, it's nostalgic. We really don't have clocks no more. Everything's digital, but this is really cool. I staring at this when I was making it, I was upset with it, but I like this. I really do like it. But you know, there was a beginning. There was the 2x4s, and then you move on to the yoke because there's a price difference. You know what I mean? I could probably say the materials that I spent for these are considerably more than the $2 or $3 per stud. These are, again, when you're doing circles, this here is a coaster made from maple. I built a coffee table. It's in the living room. That'll be a separate video, too much information, but just working the circle jig and using my router to route that out where I'd practice from the 2x4s, making those. It takes you somewhere else. And this is just something that I love. I love having these on the coffee table. I think these are so cool. You know, and this one, the way this looks and the edges, you know, just the way it turned out is just awesome. It's why I love woodworking, because you can do such cool things, you know. And this is another practice piece. This was me just practicing, you know, with the trans tint dies. I had some scraps. I threw this thing together. I wouldn't use the step stool. I made a mistake as far as the legs are concerned. When you use a step stool, you need to take your legs out farther, bring them out more. It's a trip hazard, you know. I'm aware of it. I know how to step on it, but that's not what this is going to be used for. I have a different purpose for this. You know, that's neither here nor there. I've got one more thing. This is something when I was messing around with shapes. Now these are leftover scraps and some of the also other wood that I have from the circles. But this, I've got to tell you, like, this wood here was from a project that I have hanging in my bedroom that, you know, that's $500 worth of wood that I'd spent. And those are just the scrap leftovers. And there's something about this too. I have to show this to you again. I was very, very upset with this. There were just gaps. I'm staring at it like this. And I got frustrated. I ran out of pieces because it's not consistent. You can see it's not consistent. But boy, you know, when you put some epoxy in to fill the cracks, and when I put a finish on this, I really like the way that turned out. That really, I really like that. It's kind of cool, you know. Definitely. So you get discouraged sometimes in my woodworking groups. I get discouraged. We all get discouraged, but just keep going. You're gonna make mess ups. It's gonna happen. I worked for the world's greatest cabinet maker. He'll tell you that. And there's no falsehood. And I'm not saying that. I'm gonna constantly repeat that because he will. You know, he messed up. He'd hide his mistakes better. He wouldn't fess up to them. But if you're working with someone, when you come from a woodworking field that happens every day, you either have to stop and think, how'd this go wrong? How'd that go wrong? Why is this out of square? It's all a solving process, you know? The point of this video is, the point of this video is 2x4s aren't a bad way to start. It's cheaper. You want to get cheaper material. There's nothing wrong with it. Then when you get better and feel more comfortable, you start getting more expensive material. I mean, and I wanted to show you some things that you can make with 2x4s. You know, and there are plenty of videos out there where people are making some cool stuff with 2x4s. So that's my input. Hope you have a wonderful day and you take care of yourself. Be safe, people.